Hello everyone, welcome back. Hope everybody's doing great. It's been about a month since we looked at the butterfly spread and all the different variations of the butterfly spread. And so I want to revisit those today and take a look and see how they've done. And I can tell you today was not a good day. But prior to today, things have looked pretty good. So we're going to go through the different strategies that I put on. We'll talk about why I chose which asset I did for each strategy. And I'll kind of give you a little information about the video that we've already discussed about a month and a half ago. I'll link it up here in the top bar somewhere on either side. And you guys can go back and watch if you haven't seen that video yet. It kind of goes through kind of just the small back test that I did and kind of some of the pros and cons of the butterfly spread and the different variations of the butterfly spread. But I wanted to run a forward test to see if this is the strategy that I can use to kind of just put on an option trade and set it and forget it, if you can really call it that. Where I don't have to manage it too much. I can just put on 3-4 trades, let them do what they're going to do, and then come back a month later and close them or take my profit or whatever the case. And so I wanted to kind of see if the butterfly strategy made sense, and we talked about that in the last video. Without any more, let's go and take a look at the screen. Okay, so the first thing you'll see on the screen is kind of how things are going. You can see it is profitable. I've made $178 over the last month, so certainly nothing you can be upset about. But you'll also notice that the profit and loss on the day is just brutal. Today the market just roared higher, and that kind of just wiped out the most profitable position I had, which was my IWM position. But let's go ahead and look at each one of these specifically. We can ignore GLD. When I set these trades up, this is just a vertical call spread, kind of neutralize the delta a little bit, and you can see it was just pretty much a max loss. So it really didn't help me. Gold did not go the right direction, and it was just giving money away. So maybe take that into consideration if you're looking at your Greeks and you're setting up a similar portfolio and you think, well, I've got to get some more deltas. Well, if you're still directionally wrong, not going to help you very much, regardless how many deltas you've got. Let's go ahead and start with IWM, and we'll go ahead and just go in straight to the Analyze tab. And so you can see IWM was my iron fly position, and for the life of this trade, I pretty much bounced around right here in the middle. So it was just, I mean, I couldn't do that again if I wanted to. I mean, very rarely is the market going to stay in such a tight range for such a long period of time. To get 30 days in the same tight range is very rare. Now that being said, I set it up on IWM because you can. When I set it up back here, they had been in a range, and I thought, well, maybe if this range continues, it would make sense to let it just kind of do its thing right there, and it worked out really, really well. Of course, until you see this huge spike that we had today. I mean, just the lid came off and out it went. But it's still profitable right now. So I'm going to hold this just because it's a paper money account. I'm going to hold it and see what happens. Maybe we can get a pullback. More realistically, if this were real trading, I would just close this. I would have already probably closed it. So you certainly, if you're going to trade this yourself, you want to make sure you have a profit target or a stop loss or whatever the case is. But as of yesterday, I was up by $400 or so, about $400. I can't remember exactly. Let's take a look. So just yesterday, I was up at about $500, and in one day, it kind of wiped out a lot of that gain. So would have probably closed this one yesterday and taken a lot of that profit. But again, you got to take a look at this and say, how often are you going to get such a narrow range, a major index or a major ETF like IWM? And the answer, I think, is not very often. So I just kind of got lucky on this one, and that really is what drove this particular portfolio here to be profitable, in all honesty. But moving along, again, that was the iron butterfly. It worked out really well. The iron butterfly had a 70% win rate. I would say that's probably okay to believe. I think ultimately this could be a decent strategy. You would just have to make sure you monitor it. So it really, I don't know, it kind of goes against what I was hoping to achieve with the butterfly strategy. But if it can return profits like this on a consistent basis, then it's certainly worth looking into a little bit more. So I'll keep that one on the books, and I'll be taking some more forward tests with the iron butterfly to see how it goes. But moving along, let's go and take a look at QQQ. Now QQQ, pretty much you can see the small brown hash or the small tan hash over here has pretty much been unprofitable since the very beginning. The market, the Qs just never went in my favor. They never moved down, and this was a directional butterfly spread. Just to kind of give you the metrics, 40% is the win rate on the directional butterfly spread. And so more than half the time you're going to lose on this particular trade. And in this instance, we did. The market just kind of just roared higher for the last 2 months, or the last month and a half, 2 months. So we just kind of lost money. I like this trade though, because the max loss is really small compared to what you'll see the traditional butterfly loss looks like. The max loss is relatively small, so I did like that. And if we did get a move in our favor, it could be really, really profitable. You can see the max profit being $12.91. Now again, very rare that you're going to get right into the center of that profit tent, but very nice profit potential. Just in this case, it lost. But given the huge profit potential and the low loss potential, even only winning 40% of the time, if that statistic were to hold true, this could be a very viable strategy because the loss is so small. So even if you lose 6 out of 10 trades, you make 3 times your loss on the 4 out of 10 that you win, well, you can do the math yourself there. So moving right along to, that was the Qs. Let's take a look at SPY. From the original butterfly strategy video, I thought the broken wing butterfly would be my favorite just because it had a high probability of winning, and the losses were somewhat limited at only $447 on this particular trade. But I think, looking at the data here, I think I really prefer the iron fly or the directional butterfly. And the directional butterfly, although yes, it does have a lower win percentage, when you do win, I feel like you're going to win more. And really, you can set it up on, if you're good at picking the direction of the market, if you feel like you're better than 40%, you could kind of put those odds back in your favor even more so, and the profit potential is even higher. The only downfall to that spread, just to go back to it for a second, is that it's kind of slow moving. You have to wait until things ramp up before you reach that. So you kind of got to foresee the next month out to kind of pick up that trade. But in any case, looking here at the broken wing butterfly on SPY, I'm going to leave this on again, just like the others. It's pretty much right in the profit tent. I mean, I got really lucky on this trade and on that iron butterfly that it's just kind of stayed right where I needed it to. Finally, let's take a look at TLT so we can wrap this up. Probably my least favorite. This had the lowest winning percentage at only 20%, the traditional butterfly. I just can't see from my own trading why this would ever make sense. The loss potential is so large and the max gain is so low, but I just don't like this trade. The loss potential is too high. And it would require me to adjust it or monitor it at pretty much all the time, and that's not what I'm looking for out of this particular strategy. But guys, I wanted to revisit it. I told you in the last video, and again, I'll link that video somewhere here so you can check out the first one if you want to. But I wanted to revisit it so that if you're curious about the butterfly strategy, you kind of know now what it looks like, what the forward test has looked like for me. I'm going to continue forward testing over the next month or two, and I can come back and make a video. If anybody has interest in it, you could let me know in the comments. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope everybody had a great day. Until the next video, God bless and take care.